Hello, Zouk friends! Danny from Zouk here, and today we are talking about drills for upper back flexibility to help our head movement and our cambres look less like this and more like this. So upper back flexibility is really challenging for a lot of dancers because A, not a lot of us work on it for other hobbies in our life, and B, our upper back anatomically is designed to round, so asking it to unround and flatten or even further encouraging it to arc often takes quite a bit of work. So all of the drills today are designed to help us get a little bit more range of motion in that upper back by doing things like side bends and twists, the two ranges of motion that our upper back is really good at to remind it it's safe and maybe it can go a little bit deeper in other range of motion, as well as using support props and also using some of our muscles to engage in that position so we feel nice and safe. All right, let's dive in and see some of these drills. So to start warming up our back, we're gonna start standing for this one. Feet about hip width apart, arms nice and relaxed. We're just gonna floppy twist, side to side. So letting the weight of the arms giving you a little momentum, letting this twist be as big as feels comfortable. Hips can be relaxed here. If you want this twist to start to go on your hips, we can lift a heel and bend our knee so those hips start twisting as well if that feels good. If that feels awkward for balance, keep those heels planted on the floor. And then one extra option is looking side to side over the shoulder that you're twisting towards to bring some of this twist into your neck. So arms nice and relaxed. Keep it going just a couple more rounds. And then we'll make this a little bit more challenging. Instead of using momentum, we're gonna make this active, using the muscles of our waist like our obliques. So this time, hip bones stay pointing forwards. You do not let your hips shift side to side. We're gonna do hands behind our head, twisting over to one side, and then go ahead, look down. Make sure your hips didn't start to twist. We want them pointing forwards. That means you might have to squeeze your glutes so your hips don't move. And then over to the other side. Keeping these slow, so we're not whipping back side to side with momentum. We're gonna hold that twist on one side. You should feel some tension in your waist. And then over to the other side. We're gonna do 6 more to each side. 6. And 5. 4. 3. 2. And last one each side. Then you can relax those arms. Time for comfortable side bend. And for our side bend, we're gonna try to not do this from the waist. We're gonna try to only do this from our upper back, from our ribs. So I'm gonna take one hand to my hip for support. Other arm's gonna reach overhead. And I want you to imagine someone is lifting that armpit towards the ceiling. We're gonna try to keep our waist nice and long. So this should be like a stretch possibly in the lats, kind of the outer armpit. You can't see me, here's what it looks like if I'm kneeling. Holding for a couple breaths. If your fingers get tingly, you can drop that arm towards your side. But making sure we're not hinging at the waist, we're keeping lots of space between our hip bones and our lower ribs. Same thing on the other side. Hand on our waist for support, lifting up through the armpit, not tilting down towards the floor. So sometimes it's nice to think about reaching the arm up and away. That's a nice way to keep more of this bend coming from our upper back as opposed to the lower back. Good. Let's make this one more challenging. To make it more active, we're taking away our hand support. Arms reaching overhead, little tilt to one side, keeping that waist nice and upright. So I'm trying to keep my lower ribs away from my hip bones. And then little tilt over to the other side. Thinking about reaching up through my armpit on each side that I'm tilting to. Another 3. And 2. And 1. Next, we're going to come down to the floor for a couple of different variations of cat-cow. If you have some kind of a stretchy strap, go ahead, grab it for this next exercise. If you don't have it, just plant your hands on the floor and go for regular cat-cow. But for those of us who have a strap, we can get a little bit more of an assist in our upper back. by taking the stretchy strap to the bottom of our shoulder blades. Don't let it slide lower down your ribs. We want it nice and high up our upper back. And this is going to be a better stretch on the strap if we have it between our arm and our inner arm as opposed to the outside. So strap is on the armpit side of our body. I'm going to stretch that strap to the floor, planting my hands, and that strap's going to help give me a little bit of an assist and a tug at my upper back as I'm arching. So for our cat-cow, we're going to arch our back, lifting our tailbone up, dropping our ribs and our belly towards the floor, lifting our collarbone and our head. Then we're going to round our back, tuck our tailbone, tuck our chin to the chest. For those of you with a strap, don't worry about rounding too much because I don't want the strap to slide up and thwack you in the back of your head. Just a little bit of a push of the back of the ribs into the strap. Then we're going to arch. Drop the belly, scoop the chest forwards and up as we arch. And then round, tuck in the tailbone. 2 more times. Arching, scooping our chest down, forwards and up. And then rounding. And then 1 more, chest down, chest forwards, chest scoops up like you're lifting your nipples towards the heavens. And rounding. Yeah, go ahead and relax. If you had that strap, you can lose it for this next exercise. So typically when we cat-cow, we're cat-cowing by arching through our whole back and rounding through our whole back. To isolate this more on our upper back and to take our low back out of the equation, we're going to try to keep our hips in the same spot. So regular difficulty would be neutral spine, that would be tailbone pointing straight behind you as we drop our chest towards the floor and then lift our chest up. So I'm thinking about dropping my ribs, lifting my head, then lifting my ribs, dropping my head. If that's feeling easy and your hips are not moving, we can make it more challenging by tucking our tailbone, rounding that low back, but still trying to do the same cat-cow with our upper back. So I'm going to scoop my chest down as I lift my head, and then round, tucking my chin towards the chest. Scooping the chest down, and then rounding. Tailbone is staying tucked, hips are not moving. 2 more times. 2. And 1. So while we're on hands and knees, we'll also do a little bit of a twist for thread the needle. So we're going to shift our weight to one side, open our other arm towards the ceiling as our chest is twisting open. And then we're going to twist to the other side, scooping our arm between the base arm and the base knee, dropping our shoulder to the floor. If it's comfortable, you can drop your head towards the floor as well. And then we'll open back up again. We're going to do 5 of these to each side. Closing as we drop our shoulder, and then opening as we lift that shoulder. Make sure your hips aren't wiggling side to side as you're twisting. Try to keep your butt in the same spot. We've got 2 more on this side. 2. And 1. Go ahead, switch sides. New hand is on the floor. Other arm is going to lift up as we open our chest. And then swoop down, counter twist to the other side. Opening 4. And 3. 2. And 1. Next up is my personal favorite, booty drops. You can do these leaning on a chair or on yoga blocks. If you've got a chair or a low table, we're going to be leaning backwards with the very bottom of our shoulder blades on the edge of our chair or table and elbows pointing towards the ceiling. For folks who don't have a chair, you can do this on yoga blocks. And we're going to have the bottom edge of the yoga blocks right at the bottom of our shoulder blades. So we're looking to supply the support right at the base of our shoulder blades. Make sure the block to the edge of the chair isn't on the middle of the ribs. We want that support nice and high. From here, hands are going to go behind our head, elbows pointing in. We're going to start hips in the air and head relaxed as low as you can. So depending on your flexibility, the head might be on the ground or it might be lifted or it might be kind of curled up so it doesn't hit the back of the chair. From here, we're going to reach our butt down towards the floor and pulling it backwards, as if you're pulling it underneath your chair or you're trying to tap that bottom block of your block tower. This should feel like a squeeze in your back muscles. We shouldn't be pushing into our feet. Legs are gonna be relatively relaxed. And then we're gonna lift that butt on up. Reach, reach, reach the butt down and back. Lift it on up. 8 more times. Here for 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. And then finally, we'll do a couple of upright back extensions. First with support, and then we're taking the support away. You can do these standing. I'm going to show them kneeling just because I fit better in the camera frame. So if you've got a strap, we're going to be taking the strap to the edge of our shoulder blades with arms out to the side a little bit. We are actively pulling that strap forward. So there should be some tension that feels like it's pulling your rib cage to the front. If you do not have a strap, I want you to use something. It can be a pair of pants. It can be a sweatshirt like this one, but I want it to be long enough that you can grab it in your arms and give it a little bit of a tug forwards so you're feeling that push in our upper back. So with our support prop of choice, we're going to give it a tug so we feel some tension in our upper back. And our challenge is keeping our waist lifted, so we're not going to let our hips go forwards. We're not going to let our butt drift backwards. We're just going to try to lift our nipples to the heavens. So I want you to think about trying to scoop our chest forwards and up as high as you can. And then we're going to reset. Neutral back. Scooping the chest up towards the ceiling. And then reset. We're going to do that 6 more times. Make sure your hips aren't going forwards as we scoop. Hips are staying in the same spot. Here for another 5. And 4. 3. 2. And 1. Go ahead, relax. Shake out your arms if that was surprisingly challenging on your arm strength. Now we're going to try that same range of motion, but no more support. So now we're just using the same body awareness. We've seen how much our upper back can arch. It's feeling good because we've done some twists and some side bends, and we've already done a little bit to build the supporting muscles for this range of motion. So arms out to the side. I like elbows a little bent. We're going to add our chest scoop, scooping our chest forwards and up, nipples towards the gods, and then relax. Make sure our shoulders are just chilling in the same spot in our back. I'm not squeezing them together. I'm not rounding them forwards. I'm not shrugging them up towards my ears. They're just chilling. And then reset. Chest is gonna lift, baby back bend, and reset to neutral. 6 more times. Here for 6. And 5. 4. 3. 2. And last one. Good. Go ahead, shake it out. And that's it. Awesome job for making it through. You might already be noticing that your back is feeling a little better, a little bit more mobile, a little bit more ready to move. These drills are already easy enough that you could do them before any time you're doing your Zouk practice, or if you're extra cool, even as a warm-up before your next social dance. You could even do them, my personal favorite is the booty drop one, during the Zouk social if you notice your back is getting a little cranky, particularly if you end up dumping things into your low back, to remind your upper back, it is here to bend too. Our low back doesn't have to do all the work. I'd recommend trying to do these at least 2 to 3 times a week to see lasting progress. And for those of you who want to learn even more, there is a whole 1-hour Zouk flexibility workshop on my flexibility website, dannywinksflexibility.com, that I will link to in the description below. For that one, we do a whole lot more for the upper back, but we also have drills for our neck flexibility, hips, and we even touch on ankles as well. So for those of you who want to learn more, check out that workshop too.